We're just going to let the crowd roll in. So me and Max are just going to do some small talk just to maybe actually get to know each other and catch up a bit. So we have 16 people so far. That's good. So Max, how long have you been with HubSpot and how did you get started with them?
Yeah, so I've been at HubSpot for 5.5 years now. I got started with them. I had a master's in opera and was like starting to perform and go that route, and just realized that was not what I wanted to do as my actual career. Made a pivot, may or may not have talked to some family members who also work in sales, and was like, what are entry level sales roles called? How can I get into sales as an industry? Ended up at HubSpot. I was the second round of hires for a new team at the time. We were called inbound call coordinators, but we were literally like the first team to be taking inbound calls. So before I joined HubSpot, HubSpot was so inboundy that they're like, we don't need a phone number. Our leads come to us through the web. So we were the first number that people would call and could actually call to like answer sales questions. We put in touch with their rep, and we would also do chat stuff. So that's how I got in the door at HubSpot. From there, I kind of rose the ranks through the sales team, was an SDR, a BDR, and then ultimately a rep on our small business sales team. And then I switched over to the HubSpot for startups team, joined that team in November of last year.
Oh, nice. That's great. That's great. Ironically, I also joined the CSI Tech Incubator team last year in November. So
congratulations. Where were you before that?
Yes. I have my own company, Startup Advisory Group. So a little bit of an entrepreneur community and events company. So I do like VC entrepreneur mixers. I do consulting around digital strategy and web development. So we do a few different things, but consulting and events is mainly what we're doing.
Nice. That's awesome.
And before that, I was in finance. So I worked at a hedge fund. I worked in wealth management. So I actually was a hardcore sales guy. I was the guy doing, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day of cold calling. So
nice. So you know the world.
yes, I definitely know the sales world in and out.
Nice. Yeah, I have to say my role has about 95% to, if I'm not 100% less cold calling now. I'm not mad about it. Definitely, that's the part of sales. We'll talk a little bit, I think, about some cold calling in here, but it's the part of sales I probably miss the least.
That's good. That's good. I hear you on that one. Just real quick, for the new people who just tuned in, just give us 5 minutes before we start. We have Max Smalls with us, the head of partnerships at HubSpot for startups and on the West Coast. And we're just doing some small talk while the crowd rolls in. So another 5 minutes and we'll get started for the new people who just joined. What were you doing before HubSpot? Did you come from a pretty strong sales background, or this was maybe like your first gig?
No, it was my first gig. So I literally had just come out of grad school with an opera master's, and had gone through like a program, was starting to sing, was about to do my first audition season, and realized I was just not feeling doing opera as an actual career.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when I started looking at sales.
Yeah. Opera is a serious route to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think like a lot of what I learned, having a undergrad and a master's in opera degree in opera is like a lot of the stuff, it really translates well into sales, because you have to be, you have to take critique, you have to be collaborative. Obviously, you have to be good at presenting and have pretty thick skin. So that was kind of when I was like, okay, what careers could use some of this skill set? That's part of how I landed with sales too. Because I was like, okay, well, I like talking to people. I like being in front of people. And sales, you get a decent amount of that.
Okay, that's cool. That makes sense. I like how you kind of took one route and made it to your advantage to be successful in another area. A lot of people kind of just give up and quit. So that's cool that you did that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you felt this, like coming from finance and now being in the startup world. I feel like you can always take the best parts, the parts you love from a job, or the parts where you're like, this really suits my skill set, and kind of be creative and be like, okay, what other roles or, endeavors or businesses can I start that are going to kind of use that skill set, but just pivot. So.
Yeah. That's very true. I actually took the same mindset you had with myself, just doing all the research I used to do in finance and also all the sales work I used to do. I figured to myself, like, hey, I could get my own clients, and I study growing companies, right? When I was in finance, I did a lot of tech investing and researching tech companies and pitching tech companies to investors. So been spending the last 6-7 years studying fast growing tech companies, at least in public land, not private land. So, a lot of that is like just that knowledge is transferable to consulting and working with companies that want to grow, because I kind of have a little bit of a blueprint.
Yep. Yeah, totally. That makes total sense. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, 6 away. I don't see new people coming in, so I guess whoever new comes in can just, pick up from wherever we're at. So once again, thank you, Max, for joining us. Max is the head of partnerships at HubSpot for startups over in the West Coast. She's going to be doing a phenomenal presentation tonight on the power of automation and how we all can use HubSpot sales tools to grow and scale revenues. So with that being said, Max, I'll let you have the floor and do your thing.
Awesome. All right, let me pull up a screen share here. Thank you so much for the intro. 1 second, let me just make sure I can see everyone. Okay, cool. So thank you so much for the intro. I'm so excited to be here. As Jeff just mentioned, we'll be talking about the power of sales automation and how to scale your business leveraging sales and marketing automation. Automation is a topic I'm very, very passionate about. It's one of my favorite tools inside of HubSpot, both our sales and our marketing automation tools. So really excited to talk about this stuff with you.
Hey,
Please,
Max.
yeah. Oh, did my internet freeze?
Yeah, can you maybe just start from the beginning? You were cutting in and out. Sorry.
Can you guys?
So you were crystal clear before. It seems like. Do you have good Wi-Fi over there, or?
Hold on 1 second. Can you guys hear me better now?
Yeah, I think so. Let's give it another try.
Okay. Is this better? I'm back now.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, my internet, it's held fast. Okay. It's held fast all day today for a few other presentations. So fingers crossed, but if I start to cut out, please let me know. It's not always the best internet, the fun of working from home.
I got you.
Okay. Awesome. So quick call out. Part of the reason, and I'm sure Emily have shared this with you before, that we can provide this education is through our HubSpot for Startups and Entrepreneurs partners. I run partnerships in Southern California. We have 3 programs. We have HubSpot for Startups, HubSpot Ventures, and HubSpot for Entrepreneurs. We provide educational resources and software discounting. If anyone has any questions on program stuff at the end as well, just let me know and we can chat through that. Can everyone hear me well still?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So I already got a great intro here, but just to recap, my name is Magdalene Small. You guys can call me Mags for short. I'm a 5+ year tenured HubSpotter, former opera singer, also former sales rep, now running partnerships. And I grew up in Wisconsin. I live now in LA and Southern California. So if anyone is ever out on the West Coast, to meet for let me know. And I'm super hyper passionate about talking all things sales, marketing, and startups, but I super especially love talking sales automation. So really excited to dig into this with everyone today. And also, once again, I think I might have cut out here, but please feel free to put questions in the chat. I'll try to take a couple pauses throughout and ask people for questions. Want to make sure this is interactive as a session and that I'm able to answer you guys' questions throughout as we're going through. All right. So setting a agenda. Everyone hear me still? Okay, there we go. Setting a quick agenda for us, we're going to talk a little bit about sales and the buyer's journey. We are going to recap just the importance of a CRM as a foundational piece for your piece of software for your business. We'll look at sales automation, do a quick definition of it, talk about how sales automation can save you time as you grow your business and scale your team. We'll talk about trigger events and how to take advantage of like these critical inflection points, hot moments. And we'll talk about marketing automation and then open it up at the end for a Q&A. And yes, at the end, I will send this slide deck out. So don't be worried that you have to like take notes or screenshots of this. We'll send out the deck. Cool. So wanted to start with a quick recap of the role of sales in today's like B2B buying experience. I think we're all really familiar with this as potential as consumers ourselves and as people who spend time on the internet and buy things. but the way that people buy and engage with a business has fundamentally changed. Buyers are getting really good at finding information before they ever before they ever engage with a salesperson from that business. I know we've all probably done this. You do a lot of research, you go online, you might read reviews. You probably don't first thing go and pick up the phone and call that company if you have a question on their product. Buyers have also gotten better at blocking out interruptive sales tactics. So people hate spam and they're really good at blocking it out. I think we've all seen this. And then buyers also have heightened expectations around what the buying experience should be like. Again, I think we've all experienced this as a consumer. I'm sure everyone's had like a really great experience where you bought something, you had an awesome experience with that brand or that customer service rep or the sales rep, and you're like, oh, I love that business. That was awesome. On the flip side, I'm sure we've all had a really negative experience with something where you're like, yeah, I might like this product or this service or this software or whatever, but like, wow, that was really not easy to buy. Or wow, their team was really like that, had a lot of friction in the process, that was slow, I really didn't like that. This type of stuff is really important to the buyer, and it really is actually exciting because it means that we, as we look at sales, really have the opportunity to level up the experience that you provide to your potential consumers. So looking at the older buyer journey, how it used to look, it was very linear and it was very driven by a sales rep. So it was very involved with like a rep or a team would typically have some type of like on-site meeting. But basically the rep in the business was really like the house of all the information. So they were kind of the protected gatekeeper of all the relevant information. He was also pretty heavily focused on showing value of product. So really driving that sale through showing only value of product. What that buyer experience looks like now is your buyers are actually engaging with your brand and with your business, with your website, with your sales resources, with everything long before or all throughout your sales process. So what this means, they might come in, they might find you on social if you're an ad you're running, maybe they talk to their friends about your product or your service, maybe they're downloading some content from your site. All of this is happening throughout the sales process you're running. And what it means for us is that the process is now a little heavily more skewed towards the actual overall experience that buyer is having, not only just how good your product is. So it means that the best product doesn't necessarily always win, but what that means for us is that it's really not just about what you sell, but how you. I actually think it's much more exciting as salespeople because if you have a great product, you now get to couple that with a great sales experience and a great brand experience, something that's really buyer centric to really have kind of the full experience for your consumers. And just something to keep in mind as we're going throughout all of this, I'll keep touching on this again and again. As you're selling, the really important takeaway here is that the selling motion has to match the way your buyers want to and like to be engaged with. Again, your buyers are just other people. Think about the way that you would like to be engaged with as a potential consumer, both from a business and a personal perspective. Buyers expect the same. So we really need to think about ways where we can meet them in the way they like to be communicated with and on that timeline. And that's where automation comes in really into play. So quick recap, I'm very, very passionate and very prescriptive that most startups, if not all startups, no matter how small you are, if you're even 2 people, should have a CRM and should be leveraging CRM. We personally have a free one at HubSpot. I love ours. It's user-friendly. It's very easy. But whether you're using us or another system, I think it's mission critical to put a CRM in place as quickly as possible and to really commit to using it. Reason I say this, one, it's going to make it really easy to have transparency across your business. Whether you're talking to investors and trying to show reports of business performance, whether you might add on a team member or make a new hire, you'll have transparent access to your data and you as the founder will be able to see everything that's going on. Also, as you start to scale your team, this is going to make sure that there's no misalignment between departments. None of that sales living in one silo, marketing and living in another tool, not having access to each other's reports. It'll make it so your team is operating as a collective whole out of one unified system. This also means that as you hire people, they don't get to take your business data with them. For example, maybe you hire a sales rep, they do some great work, but they're running everything out of a spreadsheet. They are sourcing a lot of contacts. They've got their email going out of their own personal Gmail inbox that doesn't log back into your CRM. If that person ever leaves your business and decides to take an opportunity elsewhere, there goes all your data and all of those historical data records with them. So, and thank you, Uma, for typing in customer relationship management tool is a CRM. So basically it's a source of record where you're going to be tracking all of your contacts, your companies, your sales engagements, your sales interactions, any marketing engagement interaction that's happening, kind of your one source, one-stop shop for all of your data as it pertains to your contacts and customers. This will also, having a quality CRM in place will also allow you to make data-driven decisions as you scale your business. So I think this is something as startups, you want to be able to make really quick quality decisions. If you have a good CRM in place, those decisions, you can make them quickly. You can get ahead of stuff instead of having to be reactive, and you can make data-driven decisions. And yes, Uma, HubSpot is free. Ours is free, no commitment, unlimited users, up to 1 million contacts for free. So I would recommend anyone who's interested or needs a CRM, try us out. We are very user-friendly. We use all of our own systems internally. And I personally quite like our systems. Yeah, definitely give us a try if you haven't landed on a CRM that you like yet. It'll also, yeah, absolutely. Having a good CRM too will also help you to leverage to basically track contact-centric data. So like that buyer's journey, you can track all of that inside your CRM. And then you can leverage that to do really targeted and personalized outreach. So instead of having to just do a cold outreach, you can say things to your prospects like, hey, I saw you on the website, or I noticed you were opening my email from 6 months ago. Not nosy, but maybe did you get that budget back that we had talked about? Is it time to pick an evaluation back up? So you can have a more timely, personalized, and effective outreach if you're using all of the tools at hand and tracking that in a CRM. So I will pause there quickly. Any more questions on CRM, HubSpot's tool, anything like that?
Yeah, we have a question in the chat from Uma.
Yeah.
She asked if HubSpot is free. I'll leave that one to you.
Yeah, so we do have a free CRM solution. It is free for unlimited users, free for up to 1 million contacts. We brought mass email down into that tool. I believe we're bringing a landing page builder down into that tool. So it's quite a comprehensive system. Definitely would recommend if you are in need of a CRM, try ours. When I joined HubSpot, we were using Salesforce because we literally hadn't made our own CRM yet. Ours is about 1,000 times easier to use. We actually use it for our entire 500 person plus global sales org. It's easy to use, it's easy to set up, but it's also super scalable. I live in it day to day. It's a great system.
Yeah, if I could also just tag on to that, it is definitely a great system. I use it myself, but also we have a partnership with HubSpot for startups now. So early stage founders who are part of our ecosystem and community can get like a 95% discount on the software tools anyway. So they have a free and a pretty cheap tier for the members in our community.
Yeah.
Someone's asking another question.
Can you give us a real scenario if you join HubSpot? Not sure I understand the question fully.
Yeah, do you want to come off of speaker? I mean, come off of mute, Mohammed, and ask your question out loud so we get better scope of what you're asking.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm sorry for interruption, and thank you, Mac, for your great presentation. I was just asking if you can give us like a real scenario if like a startup joins HubSpot, how we get like people to buy, for example, from us, like I take watches, for example. So how this, and I have a website. So how, if I join HubSpot, this is going to help?
Yeah, so we can help twofold. This is, if you see that, this kind of graphic up here where we're looking at marketing, sales, and CRM, first off, we could help you from a database perspective. So help you to take advantage of any potential customers or existing customers that could be a good fit for resell, upsell, cross-sell, things like that in your database, or maybe people that have been in your database but haven't purchased yet. That would be more from the sales side, and we'll talk about some of the tools in a little bit. From the marketing side, we can also connect directly to your website. So I don't know if you're able to track data right now on who's visiting your site, the actions they're taking when they're on your website, but that's a big value add piece of HubSpot, is that we're actually able to provide that data to you. So that when you have a new customer, you could actually see, great, they're on my website, they're on a product page. That's actually something I would love to maybe like pick up the phone and place a call to them to see if they need a consultation, to maybe, have help picking out that product. We can also natively integrate with e-commerce software if there's any type of online purchasing component to your business. So there's quite a few different ways that you could use us. We'll get into some more of the tools a little later in the presentation, but We also do have a weekly office hours as well if you ever want to come in and do more of a demo with our team too.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Cool. So starting to think sales automation. Sales automation, you can think of this as, it's basically the process of leveraging software to take the place of manual time-consuming sales tasks. Great question. I'm actually going to pause before we get into sales automation. Joel chatted in saying, a little confused, says it's free. We have a starter package. Is this just a free trial or an actual free version? Joel, that's a great question. Our core product, our core CRM is free. So that tool includes the ability to upload your contacts, email people, build a landing page, things like that. Our starter tools are additive to that product, but our core free CRM is free with no expiration date, no user limit, really no contact limit unless you have over 1 million. All right, and can everyone hear me? Is my internet still good? Okay, awesome. All right, so jumping back into sales automation. Sales automation is essentially taking an audit of all of those day-to-day tasks that are either creating friction in your sales process, making it hard for your prospects to get in touch with you. Can everyone hear me better now?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. Okay, well, so jumping back into sales automation. I think of sales automation as being the process of replacing manual tasks and the process of reducing friction as it pertains to your sales process. So I don't know how many of us have felt like this when we've tried to either prospect or maybe sell to a customer or something like that, but I know it's really frustrating feeling like you're wasting time in your day. Time is really of the essence, especially if you're an early stage startup. I think no matter what your role is, your time is precious. So we really want to make sure that we can leverage automation to stop wasting time. So if you've ever felt any of these things, these are some things that sales automation can help you fix. So have you ever maybe lost a deal or lost a thread with someone because you just forgot to follow up because maybe you were busy trying to close another deal or working on product? Have you maybe spent a ton of time just trying to add leads to a spreadsheet or trying to sort leads in a CRM or sort leads in a spreadsheet? Maybe you've overlooked issues in your sales processes for a long time and now you're playing catch up because you've missed targets versus being able to proactively drive. Ever maybe pulled a spreadsheet and just thought, I'm just going to call or email all these people in alphabetical order. Maybe you've gone back and forth with a prospect. This one used to happen to me all the time. Gone back and forth with a prospect, just trying to figure out a time that works for both of you to meet, maybe ultimately even not resulting in a meeting because someone goes to dinner, forgets to lock down a time for the meeting the next day, and then you've got an empty email thread with a lot of back and forth. Or maybe you've wasted time digging through files, just looking for a deck or a customer testimonial or a blog article to share with someone just to try to help provide resources during a sales process. I know personally, in my days as a rep, literally a lot of these happened to me before we built our automation tools and our sales tools. If your answer is yes, then you are a fit for sales automation. So sales automation overall help you increase productivity. It can help increase the accuracy and accelerate the speed of your overall sales process. All of these day-to-day tasks and help you to get stuff done quicker. And it can help make sure that we're keeping clean and consistent data across your scaling and growing business. Also, this one's great for anyone, obviously, for startups here. It allows for really efficient use of scarce resources. If you've got a small team or a small budget or you're a startup and you're trying to keep things lean, use tools and use automation to take some lift, to provide some lift to your day and to your process. We can talk more about our tools specifically, but automation is a huge, huge, huge lift. So starting to look at tools and how some of this stuff can help. As you're starting to look at automation, you can bucket it into kind of like 4 categories and ways that it can help. So there's rep-specific sales automation tools. These are things that help you, the individual, as you're communicating with people. So what I think of when you start to look at these and think of how you could leverage these, if you can think of basically take an audit of like, where are you spending your time throughout your day and where do you feel like you're wasting time? Are you sitting in your inbox? Do you feel like leads maybe come into your website or come into the contact us form and you're not able to follow up with them as quickly as you'd like? Are you getting off of an amazing call, maybe with an investor or with a potential customer, and now you have to go back and log all of your notes in a spreadsheet or an Evernote, or even manually log them in a CRM? Start to think about this stuff. Once you have that list of where you're wasting time, this is when you can actually start to look at, great, are there tools that could trim up those processes? We'll look at those tools next, but things like, can you automatically log your emails in your CRM to save that manual logging? You really want to trim up that wasted manual time. There's also business-wide automation. Does marketing have an easy way to communicate with sales? Does sales have an easy way to communicate with marketing? You can automate a lot of like the overall scoping business processes. Sales automation will also help you to strike while the iron is hot. There's tons of data published and studies that show that your ability to actually book a meeting or close a deal starts decreasing with every minute that passes from a conversion point. So for example, if someone comes to your website, requests a contact sales, that window, that first 5 minutes, you have the highest probability of actually getting them on a call and booking a meeting. From there, the probability of them actually booking time with you infinitely decreases. So sales automation can help you to actually make sure you're striking while the iron is hot. Goes back to that buyer idea of like meeting your buyers where they are when they're ready to evaluate or purchase. Will help you to capitalize on trigger events. Also, sales automation makes it really easy to reach sales. I don't know how many of you have been through this, but maybe you're wanting to evaluate a software, you request a contact sales, you don't hear back for 72 hours. Not a great look. Sales automation makes it really easy to get in touch with your sales team or with yourself and for people to book time with you on the timeline that makes sense with them, frictionless process, get them in the door. So let's start to take a look at some of these tools. What we're going to be taking a look at are HubSpot specific tools. So all of this is stuff that you can leverage in platform with us. A lot of the strategy behind this you can leverage with or without certain tools, but we're going to be looking at HubSpot specific automation tools. Tools about these to help them spend time where it matters, reduce time spent manually logging data. It should automate a lot of their like follow-up and logging processes, give them additional context into what leads they should prioritize. So where they should and shouldn't spend their time. It should help them work their deals in a more timely and efficient fashion and move more high quality deals down the sales pipeline. And it should help them book and close deals, book better opportunities, and close bigger deals faster. So starting off, you want a tool that's going to actually be able to track your one-to-one sales outreach. In HubSpot, we can not only track if people open your marketing emails, we can actually track if people are opening and clicking on your individual sales emails. This one is one of my favorites as a rep, or as a former rep, I should say. But this is super helpful. Have you ever, I don't know, I feel like most people probably sent an email. I'm like, that's a great email, and just heard crickets. Sometimes people are simply just too busy to respond. Understanding if they're opening, if they're clicking on things, maybe if you have a pricing link out or a link to a PowerPoint or a document, understanding how they're engaging can help you tailor your next follow-up steps. If you've sent 8 emails and they've never clicked on them, maybe you don't talk to that prospect anymore. But if you sent 8 emails and they're clicking on them and they're engaging and they're opening and you think they're invested, maybe that's someone you cold call, or maybe that's when you place a call to, you add on LinkedIn. Maybe you try to get creative with how you reach out to them and go a little bit heavier into that account. Maybe this could help you to remember to resurface an old deal. So these type of insights are really critical when it's helping you to plan your outreach in your day. Automating an online calendar. This one is another one of my favorites. Again, I just talked about this, but like that back and forth of trying to book time with someone, super frustrating for all parties involved. Leveraging some type of automated scheduler will help people to be able to book with you when they're ready. So this is in all of my calendar link. It's in my signature. I literally put it in any email template I'm sending. If I'm asking someone to get on a call with me, make it easy for them to book. Say, would you like, can we book a call to discuss? And here's my calendar to book 30 minutes to do that. You can personalize this. You can put this type of calendaring in like a live chat on your site. You can put it on your website so people can book directly through your website instead of having to fill out a contact us form. And you can even leverage your calendar meeting to do a little bit of qualification and call prep for you. So in this example, I have a start question where it says, what would you like me to answer on our call? You can actually ask your prospects or customers before they book time with you to give you a quick idea of what you need to prep for. This is something I definitely do with my calendar links. I have different questions depending on the link and depending what the purpose of that is. But ultimately, what I'm trying to figure out is, what are we trying to discuss? What do I need to prep before the call? Is there something I need to reach out to you and ask you for, or prep work I need to do on my team? You would definitely use this booking as a way to make sure that you're coming to your call prepped and ready. So your time is best used and your prospect's time is best used. You can also leverage tools. Yes. I know we're saving questions for after, but quick question. Yes, these are customizable. I customize all of my questions in my meetings link. Other thing we can do, you can automatically have your CRM log your activity back into the system. So this one is really great. That goes back to that idea of transparency around data and never losing data. So this means that anything you want logged and tracked in the CRM email-wise is going to come back and be logged in your system. So this means, I don't know, I'm sure, again, we've all experienced this, searching, sifting back through your inbox, trying to find a thread that you had going with someone. In HubSpot, this will automatically be logged on the contact record. So you'll have a full historical view of any email communication that happened with that prospect, with that customer, with that investor. So you can really easily go, oh, okay, 6 months ago, I actually see that email thread we had. It looks like they opened this and clicked it. Great, now I have my context to follow up. So starting to talk and think about trigger events. This is when we think about, essentially, trigger events is any occurrence that opens the door for a sales opportunity. Sales and marketing automation workflows use these trigger events to enable smaller organizations to basically capitalize on trigger events at scale. But so some trigger event examples. Did a new executive started a business? This was one I used all the time with our business model and who we were selling to. We sell directly a lot of times to either VP of sales or VP of marketing. If someone takes a new role at a company, especially at an executive level, chances are they want to shake things up and maybe make an impact. Software evaluation typically comes with that. It's a time to reach out and congratulate someone on taking a new role. Ask what their plans are. Ask if you can talk to them about it and see if your product or service can help. A new role for a current contact. Maybe someone who you've been trying to sell to has actually taken a promotion internally, or maybe they were stuck in a lower level job at a current company and now switched roles, and now they're running marketing for a new company, for example. So changing role for a current contact can be really powerful. Maybe your customer has made a new announcement. They've launched a new product. They are moving locations. They're opening a new office, something like that. Anything big for the business, it can be a great point of time to reach out, just congratulate them. And again, see if it could be an opening for a conversation around your product or service. Also, maybe their competitor announced a new product or service. Maybe you could talk about having a good or a bad quarter, or the times that are happening. And then also just knowing who you're selling to and following changes in the industry. Articles, blog posts, telling someone like, hey, I actually saw you on a podcast, or I saw what you posted on LinkedIn. Anything that can humanize it and show that you're actively and intentionally reaching out for a specific reason, super powerful and really helps to cut through the noise when a lot of other people are likely prospecting into these same businesses. So starting to look at business-wide sales automation tools. Sequences are amazing. Sequences is the idea that instead of having to send one-off sales outreach, so like, hey, I saw that you've got a new role. Congratulations, would love to talk. That's it. We can actually string together up to 5 different email templates that would still come from your inbox, but automate that follow-up process. So again, speeding up that follow-up process and allowing you to spend your time sourcing new leads, prospecting new leads, on calls with customers, running product, hiring a new salesperson, whatever it might be, instead of doing manual follow-up. You also want to put in place some type of notification so that you and your sales team can reach hot leads when they come in. So this one is really critical. We use this a lot at HubSpot, but you want things in place that will notify people, for example, when someone's on the pricing page or when someone fills out a contact sales form. Maybe if someone abandons something, like starts to sign up for a free trial or a demo, maybe you get a notification for that. Having those notifications at these critical points will mean you're not playing catch up. You're able to attack and prospect that lead in a timely manner. So now to look at sequences. Lastly, with sales automation, you really want to have metrics in place for success. I think that most people really think heavily about metricing the sales funnel. So like their forecasting and their deal pipeline. And they also think really heavily about metricing marketing, but they kind of forget to metric your sales outreach. With HubSpot, you can literally not only send sequences and send templates, but we actually can report to you on how those are performing from a sequence perspective, from an individual template perspective. So instead of having to think like, okay, I'm spending all of this time sending these personalized sales outreaches, trying to get on people's calendars or trying to get people engaged in a sales process with me, you can actually really understand which of your templates are performing well, how they're performing from an open rate, a click-through rate, and even a reply rate, and then do audits from there. So really want to make sure that as you're iterating on your sales process, you're using data and using tools to make sure your sales outreach is as effective as possible. You want to build a data-driven culture for your sales org. Things that really, and make it really, really easy for yourself and your reps to see activity metrics, template performance, sequence performance. If you've got a piece of like a one-pager you made, we can help you report on that. You want to be reporting and making sure that anything you're sending, any inflection point, any interaction point with sales, you're reporting on, and you're able to actually make decisions and pivots from there as needed. So the other side of marketing automation, people might be more familiar with this one, is marketing automation. Marketing automation mostly refers to setting up workflows that will automatically send messages either internally or externally to either do marketing tasks or sales actions based on people's actions. So as your prospects are completing actions, you can use workflow to automate a lot of the outreach. I always think that people kind of consistently want to tie marketing automation too heavily to just marketing. So much marketing automation can be used to actually run a sales process and to get leads and meetings booked. I really love leveraging marketing automation from a sales perspective as well. So some automation workflows that I think every business should put in place. You want trigger-based automation workflows when people do really high value activities. So things like download a piece of content on your website, request a contact sales, fill out a sales form. If you don't have some way to automatically have an email go out to that person, again, we're back to that time window where your competitors can get to them quicker. So we really want to make sure that we've got systems in place to automatically send an email out and even offer up something like a calendar link to book time with a rep. Make it easy, make it quick. We also want to make sure that we've got trigger actions based on when people are maybe taking an action that we want, but don't progress to the next step. So maybe people view a pricing page, but don't click contact sales, or open an email, but don't click on the link to sign up for the event. You want to be able to nurture people into taking the next action instead of just leaving them with one event, leaving them at that first inflection point. And then also you definitely want triggered internal notifications to yourself and to your team when people are demonstrating heavy buying signals. So when a really good fit lead comes by the website or views a pricing page, you want to be able to let yourself, or eventually as you hire sales team members, want to be able to let them know, like, hey, your prospect is on a pricing page. It's mission critical for your sales team. This is what some of our notifications look like at HubSpot. Literally get these in our inbox. So say I'm on a demo with someone and one of my leads comes by a pricing page, actually get this in my inbox so I can follow up with them. And our system will already sometimes have emailed them if I don't have them in a sales process yet, saying something like, hey, saw you on the pricing page. Here's my calendar link, book time with me. So hit it from a two-pronged approach. That way I have all the resources as a salesperson. I can follow up personally. And there's already been an email touch point sent via marketing workflow. That is what I have from a tools perspective. I know there's some questions in the chat, and I think we've left plenty of time to cover them. So I will actually turn over to questions, and we'll pick up in the chat, and then we can go to a discussion from there. I'm going to back it up a little bit. Okay, so can we customize questions in the meeting prep questions list? Yes. Yeah, so Sydney asked this, it seems more like kind of like a statement as to processes, but Sydney was asking, is HubSpot's goal to send a series of automated follow-up emails after a sales call? If a deal isn't opened, maybe send a sequence of emails, and then once it's closed or lost, terminate the sequence. I use sequences a little bit earlier on in the prospecting phase. So I use them to actually try to get someone engaged in a sales process with me. Typically once I'm working with someone, so if I ran a discovery call with someone, at that point, I would be sending them a more personalized email that has like a recap of our like next steps. And we should have locked down next steps on that discovery call. So I wouldn't necessarily need them to be in a sequence then. We would be in a mutually engaged, mutually agreed upon sales process with clearly defined next steps. So I would say I typically use sequences if people have gone dark or if people aren't engaged with me in a sales process yet. So more of a prospecting motion. Sequences, unfortunately, are not available in our free plan. They do start at our paid levels, but templates are available at our free plan. Got it. Okay, so 2 good questions. Uma, will you be showing a high-level system demo for us to relate the terms to the system? I didn't have a demo spec'd out, but I'm happy to jump into some of the tools, show you guys some workflow and what that would look like. Can definitely jump in there if we have time. All of the screenshots that I showed you were from HubSpot. Yeah, I can definitely, if we run out of time demo, we do hold an office hours on a weekly basis where you can come in and ask our team to show you around specific tools. Yeah, I think we should have time for me to jump in there. And then how does the automation prioritize follow-ups and reminders? That is a great question. So we do have a task tool inside of HubSpot CRM that can send you tasks directly to your inbox. Inside of sequences, you can also add tasks and follow-up reminders. So we've got kind of a few catch-all ways to catch things to automate reminders. We also have automation built around our deal stages. So for example, if you were worried about a deal stalling out for too long in a certain stage, you could set up a workflow that sent you a reminder to say, hey, this deal has been stuck in negotiation stage for 2 weeks. Take a look at it. So we've got quite a few ways to have the system automatically send you reminders, whether those things are automated based on where a deal is or contact-based information, or whether those are tasks that you send. The system will automatically follow up with you and send something to your inbox and ping you a notification inside of the system. I think there was a question, Dan, it looked like, had a question precise to your business. I'm happy to hear that if you want to come off the mute and ask that question.
Hi.
Hey.
So I forgot where to click. It's okay if I talk here?
I'm so sorry, what was that? Yes, I can hear you.
It's okay if I talk here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for this. I find complicated all the tools you offer. I just been looking around and it's so much to learn that obviously I'm gonna hire somebody for that, but at this point we need to take a decision because we just got our first client. And obviously we want to, and we're going through a beta process right now. So we have, I'm going to try to say it as quickly as I can. We have a network of different people we use to bring our clients to our process. And so I have lawyers, I'm in Canada, everything happens in Europe. And then it comes back to me and then I send it to the other network of people. One person at a time. It's not, I have a network. Then it comes back and then a third network. Okay, and then it comes back here and then that's the end. Can this system, I assume this sales piece, help me to connect me to the person where it's now and then bring it back? Or it's something I can do or?
Yeah, so with HubSpot, you can add as many users as you like to the CRM. And then you can gate their permissions down. So if they're bringing in leads and then you're sending a lead, I would recommend bring them all into HubSpot. You could assign those leads to your different points of contact who would be the users. Then that way you could see if they've worked them, you could see how they've engaged with them. And then when they're ready to go back to you, they could just reassign them back to you. But it would all live in the same database. And then you'd have more visibility into what's happening with those leads when you're sending them out and when they're coming back, and you'd have less of that like manual lead shuffling to do.
Excellent, thank you. And the second quick one would be, what happens if I want to send like an update to my clients, maybe a graphic or an email, something that tell them, listen, it's a process that can take between 3 months and 3 years, depending which country we're getting the citizenship for. Can I send them some type of update? Your file is now here. Something like that, or this?
Yeah, so what you could do is you could set a task reminder. So if it's something far out, you could say, okay, great. I just talked with this client. In 2 months, I want to send them a reminder to send that, your information is being processed email. That task reminder would drop in your inbox. And then, you could have a template ready to go inside of HubSpot that you could just press send and literally email information goes out as per information there. Yeah, so you could definitely do that, or we have mass email. We have a mass email tool as well. So you can also send a bulk list out, a bulk update to say, hi, everyone, we are processing this, more of that mass communication style.
Yeah,
We
no,
can
that's
do
not
both
what I
from
mean.
within this.
Yeah.
Yeah, one-to-one though, I would recommend just make a template. Our templates leverage personalization tokens. So it autofills people's name, their information, whatever you use to personalize in there. And yeah, you could just save that as a template, send that out when it's time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, how does HubSpot, great question. How does HubSpot differ from other CRMs and why would you recommend it? That's a great question. So we have actually been consistently rated one of the best CRMs for small businesses by small businesses. I think we differ in a few critical ways. One, we're free, but we actually are quite powerful as a tool, even at the free level. So you can do quite a lot from our system, even at the free level. Two, we're easily customizable. So we're very easy to use. I think our learning curve is low. We have quite a lot of tools and training, but overall, I do think a very user-friendly system, and I say that having used other CRMs before. Three, we have world-class education and support, so we actually have really good support to teach you how to use the system. And then four, we're also scalable. So we're really easy to use. We are easy to get into the system, but as you grow your business and as you scale and as you likely will need to start doing other things like marketing, like running a customer service or customer success motion, we have all of those tools and platform as well. And we also integrate with over 500 other native applications. So a lot of times what I see happen with other smaller CRMs is startups either outgrow them and eventually have to do a big data transfer, another big data dump into a CRM, and then an overhaul on that new CRM. Or I see startups go with a way too big product that's like too difficult to customize. It's not really geared towards their motion, their team. It's difficult to learn and people don't buy into using it. I think ours shoots the middle really nicely. We're scalable. We're easy to learn, but we're also a tool that you can grow with as you do continue to scale your team and grow your team and business. And if anyone wants to check us out and how we stack up against other software, I definitely recommend visiting G2 Crowd. It's a third-party review source with all verified reviewers. They have really good side-by-side comparisons of us against other software, real-time reviews from real users. It's a great tool really for any software that you're evaluating. I would definitely recommend looking at G2 Crowd if you're looking for a way to kind of see how we stack up in the space, or any software really for that matter. Great. Does anyone have any other questions? Anything about like sales processes, building pipeline, anything like that?
I guess there's maybe not too many questions left, but could you still take a few minutes just to maybe demo the platform a little bit? I think that would be helpful.
Absolutely. So bear with me. Usually I have a demo portal prepped out and I'm walking people through stuff. Yeah, we can definitely jump in. So we'll take a look here. This is a demo portal that we built inside of HubSpot. So we used to actually demo from our real HubSpot portal when I started. As this loads, like literally once a month, someone from sales would mess up something and marketing would come yell at us. So they built us our own demo portal full of dummy data to demo. So we can take a look at Biglytics here. I will say, there are tools in our platform. Typically, it takes me about an hour to walk through tools, and that's really if we're just focused on marketing, sales, and maybe lightly touching some service stuff. What would be most helpful for everyone to see? I could show a contact record. We could look at a workflow, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think a workflow would be great.
Okay, perfect. Then let me try to load this. Apologies, my internet has been.
Would it be too much to also maybe show a little bit about the? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, would it be too much? So maybe also just show a little bit about like the sales pipeline as well. I think that could be helpful too.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. So we'll start with the sales pipeline and then we'll jump over into automation and take a look at workflow. So as this loads, inside of the free CRM, you have access to one customizable pipeline. By that, I mean you can customize the deal stages as you move into our paid subscription levels, Sales Pro and above, we do have the option for you to build multiple pipelines. So the way that a lot of our startups will use our Sales Pro tools, or they'll create one pipeline for their actual customer sales process, and then they'll create another to track like investor outreach or something like that if they're trying to raise a round. We also can do like a renewal pipeline, things like that. But this is our deal. This is a deal pipeline inside of HubSpot. You can see here we've got customized stages. We've got deals inside of here. At the bottom, we'll total all of the potential revenue from a deal. We also, you can set up forecasting probability here. So you can assign certain probability percentages to each deal stage. Really easy to sort and filter. So if I wanted to see only the deals that I own inside of this pipeline, I could just come and search and see my deals. I can see in this demo portal, I've got one an intro call. I've got one that I think is a qualified prospect. A fake one that I've closed one. If I want to move a deal over, I can just drag it over. And then if I wanted to view this or maybe move it back, we also have required fields. So this makes sure that your CRM hygiene is staying clean as people are moving deals down the pipeline. You can view this in a board or a table. So this is total personal preference. I usually like looking at the board view if I'm kind of trying to get a picture of like where my month is at and how I'm trending. I like the table view if I'm running a deal by deal review. Sorry, let that load. Can everyone hear me still? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So with this, you can also preview deals from here. And this takes you to a quick preview of the deal record. Nice part about this, you can edit the deal directly from here. So you don't need to jump into the full deal. If you can, it's really easy too, but you can edit things like the amount, edit what stage it's at. All of these stages, all of these fields are customizable, and you can add custom fields to this as well that are necessary for your business process. You can always add things in as well, like, hey, maybe this is a specific unit type, save, and then see what company and what contacts the deal is associated with as well. We also, I should mention, we do have a product and a quoting tool as well. So you can create and send invoices from HubSpot and create a library of products to send out. So we have a pretty slick quoting tool there. And that's kind of our pipeline. Are there questions on deal pipelines, how to create a deal in HubSpot? We do have an integration with Stripe so that, oh, sorry, I'll read the question. So Dan asked if clients can pay invoices as well. We do have an integration with Stripe, and we do have a place for e-signature. We are not yet a full billing platform, so we would have to leverage our integration with Stripe at this point to be able to process payments, as we're not fully like a billing system yet. Any other questions on sales pipeline before I flip to workflow? Okay, so inside of HubSpot, there are three main types of workflow that we can create, and you can base them on actions that happen at the contact level, the company level, the deal level, ticket level, quote level, or now even feedback submission form level. So we've got quite a lot of ways to automate our workflow tool. And the three things that we can do with workflow, we can build a basic workflow. So start from a triggered action like we were talking about in today's presentation. We can also center it around a date. This one's really awesome. I know we're probably all doing a ton of virtual events and virtual connections, virtual meetings now. So if you've got a webinar, a conference, something like that coming up, we can actually start and trigger the workflow around that upcoming conference date. So start to do marketing 2 months in advance, and then also do marketing 2 months following. You can also do workflow and trigger workflow based off of a date-centric property. This one's really great. I believe it was Dan who was bringing up that idea of notifying customers or updating customers on an individual basis, or potential customers, like where their processing is at. If you wanted to maybe congratulate someone on being a customer for a year, or if you've got someone coming up for a year renewal, you can always center it around their renewal date, their birthday date, something like that, but center it around a customer or a contact date property as well. And yeah, all of our software works in Canada. I'll defer to my Canadian sales team with some of the specific concerns around like can spam and stuff like that in Canada, but we definitely have clients in Canada. Our system is completely GDPR compliant. Our sales team can tell you more information on how we specifically support our Canadian customers, but we definitely do have quite a lot of customers in Canada. Oh, the integration with Stripe. That I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't know it was different. I don't know. I can double check for you. Again, our sales team should be able to answer that if you chat in with them. Then looking at a workflow itself, I think so, yeah. As I mentioned, we have a ton of different types of workflow. I'm going to pull up one here just to show you that's pre-built. All of our workflow, they're really easy to build. You basically set your enrollment criteria. This can be as simple or as granular as you choose. So in this example, we're looking at someone that's viewed a pricing page and filled out a contact sales form. I would say this is a simple example of a workflow trigger. When I say that it can be quite granular, I mean that you can trigger workflow based off of any of these different options. And we even bring in some of our native integrations into this as well. So Eventbrite is a really cool one. We can integrate with things like SurveyMonkey, GoToWebinar, things like that. So any of this we can trigger workflow off of. You can also always test the criteria to make sure you'll be enrolling the correct people. And you can even just enroll specific lists that you already have created. From there, you can set different actions like rotating a lead between different sales owners, sending a marketing email, setting delays, and then you can set if-then branches that actually send people down different paths based on whether they're taking or not taking the actions you've set. So conditional logic here, again, the same user interface applies. So if someone has opened an email, you could send them down one path. If they haven't opened the email, you could keep them in a nurture, and you could keep doing things like maybe creating a task for a sales rep, sending an internal email notification, sending an external email notification. Maybe you wanted to assign a property value like unengaged lead to that lead so that you could segment your database into high priority leads and low priority leads. World is really your oyster with workflow. Like I said, this is one of my favorite tools, our marketing automation workflow tool. Very easy builder. Before you make any changes, you can always run tests and see how that will affect the workflow, but it really marries together kind of every component of our tool and allows you to automate around that and update your CRM based on that. I'll take a pause here. Questions on our workflow tool? And if anyone has any other questions, I know we're coming up against time here. We do run, so as Jeff mentioned, this education we're able to provide via partnership, via your organization's partnership with HubSpot for Startups. We do offer up to a 90% software scholarship on all of our discount on all of our software for startups who have raised under $2 million in funding. If you're over $2 million in funding, we offer 50% off the software. We also run a weekly office hours. If you just look up HubSpot for Startups demo or HubSpot for Startups office hours, we run a weekly office hours with our team. We rotate who runs those office hours weekly, but that'll be one of us having a platform, a portal open like this one. We can walk through processes, we can talk through strategy, we can take a look at tool, whatever you need. That's always open, that's always a free offering. We run it every Wednesday. And if anyone has any other questions or anything, my team, you can reach us at hsfs@hubspot.com. And add me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to chat about this stuff. As I mentioned, I love sales. I love HubSpot and startups, and more than happy to chat with anyone if there's any follow-up questions as well.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Oh, actually, someone has one last question.
Workflow with a team. Yeah, so that's a great question. So with that, can everyone see my screen again?
Mm-hmm.
So with that, this is a good example. So you want to have your team assignments made. So it depends on what you're trying to use it for. If you want if you want to rotate leads, you could say Biglytics Sales is the sales team. When a lead comes in, I want to rotate that between team members who are assigned to the Biglytics sales team. So kind of depends on how that looks, but this will evenly distribute contacts as they come in on a team by team basis. Cool. Did that help answer your question, by the way? Is that the type of workflow you were trying to look at when you say workflow with a team? Or I guess when you say multiple users.
Maybe we could ask him to get off of mute. Hey, Charlie, if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question out loud, you can give Magdalene a better scope of what you're asking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. So I was curious of how team members work together, like sharing files and sharing to-do lists of day-to-day routines and just what they have, their to-do list for the day, basically.
Got it. Okay, so that's kind of out of our workflow tool, but we definitely have tools in place to do that. What I will say, we're not a full project management software, so we're not as like comprehensive of a tool as Asana when it comes to that type of team collaboration. But some of the stuff my team does when we collaborate, for example, we use things like the task queue. We leave notes for each other on contact records. So I'll show you a couple of those tools because there's definitely, it's kind of woven throughout the platform in terms of ways that you can let a team member know about a deal you're working or a contact you're working, have visibility into someone else's tasks, for example, or assign a task, things like that. So this is our task queue. We also have a shared inbox if you've got any like contact us or like sales type email you're using. But tasks you can filter by different user. You can assign tasks to different people. So I'm looking at all of my fake tasks in here right now, but if I wanted to see what someone else is working on or assign someone a task, that's a way to get visibility into a team member's productivity. And then on the contact record as well, on the deal and the contact record and everything, it's really easy. So in HubSpot, you can typically always see a contact or a deal, see who the owner is, and then you can come and you can create meetings, assign tasks, things like that, and also leave notes. This I would probably say is how we typically communicate with each other internally in the HubSpot platform. So say I wanted to mention Emily, I would leave Emily a note and I'd say, this deal, something like that. Once I save that, that's going to drop that to her inbox and it's going to leave a record of that note on the deal and also give her a notification in her platform notifications. So that's a great way to collab. This has been a lot easier, honestly, instead of slacking people different deal records and stuff. Now I typically just mention them on the deal or on the contact I'm looking at to do collaborative work like that. So like I said, it's kind of woven throughout there, kind of depends on the different use cases that you're looking for that team collab, but we've definitely built a lot of product in that helps teams to have transparency and visibility and communication in platform together.
Is there a limit to how many users could be on there?
No, it's one of the nice things about our platform. We don't limit users and we don't have a per user pricing model on our marketing platform. So you can add as many users as you want to the platform itself. We do have some per user tools on the sales side, but you're never gated from being a user on the platform with a paywall. You can always add users. You can always have people at least view contacts, companies, deals, and make edits to things inside Portal. We do have an integration with Asana. I will have to check on Trello and Monday. You can also look at our app marketplace for that, but I know we do have an integration, a native integration with Asana.
Thank you.
That's the other thing I should point out as well as you guys are checking us out. We do have our app marketplace. We have over 500 native integrations. We've got some really cool stuff in there. We natively integrate with Asana, Slack, Zoom, lots of other stuff. Like I said, over 500 native integrations now. So typically if the answer is, if you're looking for stuff that we integrate with, we probably do. We also do have an open API environment. And we are also looking always for new Connect partners. So if anyone is interested in building into our ecosystem, that's always an option as well. But we're very integration friendly and we have a lot of stuff pre-built out and available through our native integration app marketplace. There we go. Awesome. Any other questions? Integrations, platform stuff, getting started?
Does it integrate only with certain apps or can you add other apps on it? Like say one that's being developed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we natively integrate with all of the apps in here, but we have an open API environment and all of our developer documentation is public. So if you did want to build an app that integrated with our system, that's quite doable. We do have an entire team too that runs our Connect app partnerships. So if you wanted to go a step further and not only integrate with us, but be listed in our app marketplace, we can help facilitate that as well. But yeah, it's usually not an issue of not being able to build into our app. It's more of a resources issue. But yeah, if you're trying to build in, all of our developer documentation is public. And we have open APIs. So it's pretty, depending on your resources, it's usually doable to build into our system.
That's very impressive.
We also, I will say, you can see here new apps. We've done an overhaul to our app marketplace to also make it easier for new apps to get visibility in our app marketplace. So if you are trying to come on board as a Connect partner and build into our software, know that we do try to make it so that it's a more even playing field inside of our app marketplace, and it doesn't just show our bigger players and our bigger logos as it pertains to our native integrations. Any other questions that I can answer for anyone?
I think maybe we're good for today.
I will say, while everyone's thinking of potentially a last question. Yeah. I'll just say thank you all so much. I know it's kind of bordering on nighttime for everyone there. So thank you for joining. Really appreciate the time. As I said, please feel free to add me on LinkedIn, reach out to our team with any questions. We are always happy to chat. And yeah, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. And yes, thank you, Magdalene, so much for a great presentation. I think we all learned a lot. Even myself as a HubSpot user, I learned a few new things. So thank you for your time today. Thank you, Emily, as well. Emily is also part of the growth team or partnerships team at HubSpot, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you to you as well, Emily, for helping us put this together. Thank you to everyone who joined this evening and took out your own personal time to build up yourselves as entrepreneurs and get this education. And we look forward to doing more events with HubSpot for Startups. If anyone is interested in joining our community or learning how you get the discount on the HubSpot for Startups software packages, feel free to reach out to me. We will be sending a follow-up email with a recording of this video, also be a recording of this presentation. And we will also follow up with some contact details with myself and the incubators. If you guys have any additional questions or want to learn how to get the software at the discount, feel free to reach out. So I guess with that being said, thank you all for coming out tonight, and good night to everybody.